The first Wali Paidi was told by the Prophet Khidr alayhi salam that he was a substitute Wali. Wali Paidi experienced a shock that shook him quite a bit. Since the appointment, he often got sick. At least twice a month Wali Paidi was sick. Sometimes suddenly his head was dizzy and his body ached. His bones felt like they were going to fall off. And every time he was treated, the disease still came to him, as if the medicine was ineffective against his illness. As a result, Wali Paidi often did not attend events that he usually attended, such as drinking coffee together, having dinner, going to bed, and even teasing him, like a spoiled poor person he. Wali Paidi also did not understand the condition of his body, which was not like usual, until finally the Prophet Khidr met him again. The Prophet Khidr came in the form of a salesman selling mineral water products. Prophet Khidr explained to the Wali Paidi, every Wali bears the calamity or becomes a shield for every calamity sent down by Allah to his people, after putting away his merchandise. Prophet Khidr explained again, the calamity that descends is borne by the Walis according to the level of each Wali. The higher the degree of the Wali, the heavier the calamity he bears. In the past, the late Habib Abu Bakr as-Sagaf, when he died, his stomach was found to be hollow because he bore the calamity of the people he protected. He was a Qutb, leader and sultan of the Walis. While the lightest calamity burden is a headache, I'm so upset like what you experienced. Wali Paidi nodded. He understood that he was a new Wali. A substitute Wali, Wali Badal, like a reserve player in football. Thank you. It's understandable that new Walis become spoiled, said Wali Paidi. Prophet Khidr said again, behave normally like someone who is not sick. The saints also experience it, but they hide it. Prophet Khidr stood up and left. Just walking a few steps, Prophet Khidr turned around and said again, oh yes, every time someone praises you, you will also feel pain like that. Wali Paidi was silent. He sipped his coffee again and took a cigarette and lit it. Enjoying smoking, Prophet Ilyas passed beside Wali Paidi, who was disguised as a fried food seller. It's indeed nice to be a saint. He, said Prophet Ilyas, half running to catch up with Prophet Khidr. Tonight, Wali Paidi's heart was troubled. For some reason, why did a feeling of trouble suddenly come over Wali Paidi's heart and his head suddenly felt dizzy? There must be someone who feels, gossips, about me. Wali Paidi stretched his legs and leaned his body on the pillar of his prayer room, when Wali Paidi wanted to get up from his seat. A guest came and immediately sneaked in and approached Wali Paidi. When the guest was close to Wali Paidi, suddenly, Wek Jew, the guest enthusiastically spat at Wali Paidi. Wali Paidi was shocked. Who is this guest? Why did you suddenly spit at me? Thought Wali Paidi. Jew. The guest spat again, this time hitting Wali Paidi's eye. Wali Paidi remained silent. With the corner of his shirt he wiped the saliva that had hit his face. His hands on his hips, this guest lifted his face, then lowered it again and Jew. The guest spat out all his saliva. Wali Paidi's face was covered in saliva. Wali Paidi began to cry. Wali Paidi slowly wiped his face again. Then Wali Paidi gently asked the guest, who are you, sir? The guest smiled and answered, I am an angel who was told to test you. Because many people praise that you are a patient person, that's why Allah told me to prove whether people's praise of you is true, and it turns out it is true. You are indeed a patient person, the person replied, then walked away. Wali Paidi was just stunned, and not long after another very elegant person came. His face was handsome, dashing and wearing a suit and tie, truly dashing and handsome. After getting out of his luxury car, Satamu approached Wali Paidi and with a smile Satamu sat near Wali Paidi. Sir, Sorry to bother you for a moment. Can I have some money, sir? My ATM was lost. To buy gas, sir, said Satamu. Wali Paidi looked at Satamu in surprise. How much? Asked Wali Paidi. A little, sir. Just 1 million inch, replied Satamu. Wow, I don't have that much, replied Wali Paidi. Yes, any amount, as long as I have it, asked Satamu. Wali Paidi was a little hesitant, but he threw away those feelings. No matter what, he had to help people who needed help, no matter who they were. Wali Paidi lowered his cap and took money from the pocket of his cap. Without counting, he handed it all over. With a cheerful smile, the guest accepted the money given by Wali Paidi. Thank you. It turns out that people's praise of you is true. You are a generous person, said Satamu. Who are you, sir? Asked Wali Paidi. I am an angel who was told to test you, answered Satamu, then walked away like the first guest. Wali Paidi lowered his head. He realized now why his heart was troubled and his head was dizzy. It turned out that many people felt and praised him. He knew that Allah was the one who deserved to be praised. Allah was the most patient. Allah was the most generous. Allah was jealous and sent an angel to test me because many praised me as a patient person and a generous person. Assalamu alaikum. Wali Paidi came to his senses from his contemplation. After hearing the voice of someone greeting him, Wa alaikum salam, replied Wali Paidi. Standing in front of the guardian Paidi, a very beautiful woman, wearing tight pants with a loose long-sleeved white top, and wearing a simple headscarf. Her hair was shining reddish. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mulan Jamila, said the woman flirtatiously while holding out her hand. The guardian Paidi was silent and thought to himself, what other test is this? What more praise for me? To be continued.